excellent connection.
You wouldn't think it. Oh, there we go.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Well, hello and welcome to the Movie Paradise Show. I'm your host, Nathanael Molnár, and this is the live show we do every single Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. And I'm joined today with our co-host, Rob Giachinta.
What's going on?
Hey.
Hey.
I loved being able to do the show in person when we can do it.
Oh. I thought this was virtual reality.
Oh. Yep, no, we're doing it here. And how the Movie Paradise Show goes is that we have a few different topics that we like to talk about within the world of movie news, and then we have a main topic that we talk about. And today's main topic, I think, is a pretty interesting one that we're going to get to. So just you wait. But we're going to kick things off today with a little bit of Did You Hear? So Rob, I posed a question to you and to the audience. Did you hear that Godzilla vs. Kong has been pushed 8 months? This movie was originally supposed to come out in March of 2020, and they pushed it to November 2020. And I know you, when you first heard the news, was the most surprised person out of all the people.
I was saying to you, like, there was no way he was going to stay in March. We would have had at least a teaser trailer by now. Mm-hmm. It's, what is it, December? To say December 1st?
No, today's the 30th. Tomorrow's the 1st.
Like, and there's still no trailer for a big movie that comes out in March. There was no way. And I think it has a lot to do with the way the last Godzilla movie was, like, the fans reacted and it didn't make a lot of money compared to its budget. And I think they're going to try to tinker this movie around and hopefully make it better. So when it comes out in November now, it can make, like, the profit they need it to make.
Yeah. And, I mean, with that's a good point about Godzilla King of the Monsters, because they put out their first trailer like a year before the movie came out. So I think they learned a few lessons from that. And I remember, now you didn't see King of the Monsters. No. I had the unfortunate experience of seeing King of the Monsters.
This movie's going to be a hit. You watch.
I thought Mike Doherty was going to deliver.
Summer.
Everything with the monsters was great. Unfortunately, they made cameo appearances in their own movie because we had to have stupid human characters saying stupid lines with stupid performances. It was a waste. Now, I remember right after King of the Monsters came out, like, one of the big people at Warner Brothers came out and said, yeah, you know, we weren't thrilled with the reception of King of the Monsters, so we're looking at Kong versus Godzilla and seeing what we can do with it. It sounded like they were going to try to fix it. Now,
good luck.
Here's the thing. So Godzilla 1, the 2014 one, was fine.
Yeah, it was good.
It was fine. I think it was a movie I would only care to see once, and it was great. It had a whole bunch. It was like 2 hours of build up that I thought was on and off, and then had a great last 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Kong Skull Island, I know you have your opinions on. I actually really enjoyed that movie a lot.
Hate that.
I get a big kick out of that movie. And then King of the Monsters, I thought they'd learned their lessons from both movies. Going in, I thought they would have learned their lessons, and they didn't. And it was even worse. So, with Kong versus Godzilla, I don't really care.
I don't either.
I'm going to see it, and I want to just see it because I was like, look, I'm invested. I've invested 3 movies already. I just want to see them fight each other. That's it. Then I'm done. I want them to be done. I don't want a Mothra spinoff. I don't want any of these other things. Just give me Kong versus Godzilla. That's it. Let's be done and move on.
You know what spoke to the testament of how bad I think Godzilla versus the Monsters? What was it called?
King of the Monsters.
How many copies of that did you see at Black Friday? I saw that everywhere, and no one was buying it. It was, like, thrown all over the place.
Yeah. No, it's...
They're practically giving them away.
Yeah. So, anyways, pushing it 8 months. Maybe they're tinkering with it. I don't know if they're actually going to do any...
I wouldn't put any more money into it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, I mean, Godzilla, the last one, didn't make much money.
No.
And I don't think this one's going to make...
I don't think
already
Kong
expensive.
made that much money either.
No.
I mean, like, it probably made something, but I don't think it made gangbusters or anything like that.
Yeah.
At least compared to the first Godzilla.
Yeah.
So, yeah, The only thing that could save this movie is, like, I feel like it has, like, a novelty, just being King Kong versus Godzilla, and we haven't seen that since, like, what, the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
So I think it could still have a chance of making money, but if it stinks, it's going to be hard to climb.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Adam Wingard's directing it, and he hasn't had the greatest track record.
I like him, but yeah, you're right. He hasn't had the greatest track record.
So I mean, I want to see it just to see it, to be done. Now it's coming out in November. I don't know if November's even a great release date.
No,
for it.
I think I wouldn't even be shocked if it moved again.
Yeah, honestly. So we'll see. Anyways. What do you guys think? Are you guys surprised by this news that Godzilla vs. Kong has been moved 8 months? Do you think that's a good thing? That's a sign of good faith? Do you think that's a bad thing? What do you think? Leave your thoughts on the comment section below. And now we move on to a second Did You Hear topic. Did you hear? I don't know if you heard this.
Honestly, I don't hear anything. I'm off social media.
You're off everything. This guy's off the grid.
So I just come here, and this is how I learn my news.
Yeah. So sit down. Let me tell you. Everything you need to know about movies. Did you hear? There was this big Variety article that came out earlier this week that had a lot of information about the future of Warner Brothers and their DC properties.
Yep.
And there was a lot of interesting information in this article. But one of the ones that stood out to us the most was this idea that a lot of the upcoming DC movies are expected to be rated R. Now, this isn't a confirmation, and they specifically listed Birds of Prey and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, this isn't a confirmation that these movies are going to be rated R, but it sounds like, and this is coming from Variety, so they're a very reputable source, if the studio made these movies in a way expecting it to be rated R, most likely it's going to be rated R. So I think we can almost certainly take this to the bank, but it's not a certain confirmation. I'll say first, I think this is the right move. And something that the Variety article was saying, and I wish I was able to quote it like verbatim, but the article said something to the effect of DC's looking at the situation that Marvel is in a position where they can't do R-rated comic book movies, and they're seeing, especially with the billion-dollar success of Joker, with the success of the Deadpool movies, there is a hunger for R-rated comic book material, and if Marvel can't do it, DC sees this opportunity to do it. I wish someone had said that maybe a couple of weeks ago on this very show. That's right. That's exactly what I said DC should do when we are talking about how studios should get away from shared cinematic universes, and I said DC should look at it and see what Marvel can't do. Yeah, you can go on YouTube and check it out. But I said the exact same thing. So obviously they were one of the 5 people watching the show, and they listened to me, and now they've made it part of their structural plan going forward. But I do think this is for the best. I think this is a great idea. As I said before, DC is in a position where they can do what Marvel can't. And I think they tried to do what Marvel is doing, and it failed. Yeah. And I think their next course of action can be to do what Marvel can't do. And that's what I think can really help make DC stand out and have great success.
And they've already proved that it works. Joker is a $1 billion film, and it only costs like 50.
It's 65.
So, whatever the hell. Like, if they can make these movies for lower budgets than the normal superhero movies, make them rated R, go edgy with them, take chances, I think it's gonna pay off.
Now, I don't think they should make every single movie they do rated R. Like,
I don't think Batman's gonna be rated R.
No, I don't think so either.
Which it would be cool, but I don't think so.
Like, I don't think we're gonna get an R-rated Green Lantern movie or an R-rated Batgirl or an R-rated Superman. Like, I don't think we're gonna get
Wonder Woman isn't gonna be rated R.
No, but I think where the property lends itself, where it could be rated R, like Birds of Prey, that could very easily be rated R. And it would work well. Suicide Squad, those properties lend themselves to an R rating. And I think if they just have the sense of, let's look at our properties and what they kind of lend themselves towards. Superman can be a PG. I don't know if they're ever doing Superman for a while, but
Superman stinks. We hate Superman.
Yeah. Superman, it doesn't need to be rated R. There's really nothing about a Superman movie that constitutes an R rating. So let's do PG-13.
Wasn't there rumors this week though of a R-rated Superman or something like that?
Oh, I think it came. Well, there was the whole Michael B. Jordan article.
Did
part
that
of the
have any
article.
legitimacy to it or no?
Well, yeah. So in the article, they said Michael B. Jordan pitched an idea for Superman. They had a couple of meetings, and then they released. Michael B. Jordan has a lot on his plate right now. So even if something were to happen, it wouldn't happen for a while. So I don't know. So
I would like to see that though.
I think Michael B. Jordan would be an awesome Superman.
I agree.
I think he'd be great.
But I would like to see Henry Cavill come back too.
Me too. I doubt it. So if I had my first choice, it would be Henry Cavill comes back. And Michael B. Jordan wouldn't necessarily be my next choice. I'd have to like sit down and really think about it. But if Michael B. Jordan was announced as the next Superman, I would be all for it.
Me too.
Because he's a great actor and I think he played a role really well. But yeah, I think this is a great approach on DC's part. I always kind of suspected that Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad would be rated R, but it's nice to kind of hear, not official confirmation, but that it's most likely going to be the case. And I think this is just this is the way that they can stand out. Don't try to be Marvel. Do your own thing, and this is them doing their own thing. So I think this is a smart move on their part.
And I think the movies are going to be better off for it.
Yeah. Now, whether the movies are going to be good, I don't know about
Birds of Prey is going to be awesome. I really do.
Yeah.
I do.
Last week on the show we did I did my ranking of my anticipation for the 2020 comic book movies. Birds of Prey was last.
What?
Behind Venom.
What?
And
oh come on!
And I said on the show, I never thought that I would be putting Venom 2 on a comic book movie list where it wouldn't be last. But Birds of Prey, the trailers haven't done.
Wait, what about New Mutants?
Oh, I didn't include that because I don't think that's coming out. I don't think that movie's seen the light of day. If anything, they'll drop it on Hulu.
How bad do you think that movie is?
I think it's horrible. Well, okay, at this point,
yeah.
What does Disney have to gain from putting it out? Like, I understand when it was Fox because they put money into it and they need to see a return. Disney doesn't have any stakes in this.
No.
If anything, they have everything to lose if it sucks. So, I honestly think that
put it on Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah. Either dump it on Hulu, or I don't think they ever even release it.
Really? I think it will get released someday. I don't know where, though.
2035. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's New Mutants. So, Maisie Williams is like in her 50s, and she's like, what the fuck is this? So, anyways, what do you guys think? Does the idea that upcoming DC movies like Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad being rated R, do you think that's a good move on DC's part? Or do you think they should be sticking to the traditional PG-13 comic book movies that Marvel and other studios have done? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And now we move on here to a segment on the Movie Paradise Show that we call Go or No Go. And how Go or No Go works is that we talk about a few movies that came out in theaters that we've had a chance to see, and we simply say whether we think you should go see the movie, or no go, as in you don't really have to waste your time and see the movie. And we're doing a whole bunch of Go or No Go's on the show. We might as well have called this episode Go or No Go, because we have like 4 of them to get through, because it's been a productive week between the two of us. Mm-hmm. So the first movie we're going to talk about on Go or No Go is, you didn't have a chance to see this one.
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Hell yeah, that's going to be awesome. But the one I had a chance to see, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is the movie about Mr. Rogers, starring Tom Hanks as the character. And going in, I was really excited for this movie. I saw the documentary that came out, I think, it was last year.
Yeah.
And that was a great documentary. Mm-hmm. It was really good. And I found it incredibly insightful, and I learned a lot about who Mr. Rogers was. And so going into this movie, just the fact that Tom Hanks was playing the character was enough for me to go, oh yeah, I'm ready. Give me my Mr. Rogers movie. I almost said Mr. Hanks. And this movie is really good. It's a really good movie. For those of you who don't know the basic story structure, and I went and saw this with my mom, and she didn't know the angle that the story was taking. She thought it was more of a traditional biopic. But the story structure is that you have a reporter who has to do a story on Mr. Rogers, and so he meets with Fred Rogers, and he's a little bit more cynical. He's kind of a jaded person. He's got a lot of personal things going on in his life. And the more times he spends with Mr. Rogers, the more he kind of learns and takes away from Mr. Rogers. And I have to say, I thought that angle of the story was really good. Because they could have done a traditional biopic, but I feel like then you would have been running into a lot of the same material that's in the documentary. And in this way, they're telling a fresh story. They're telling a new angle of it. And you don't learn too much about who Mr. Rogers is as a person. Like, it's not really supposed to be like, this is when he was born, this is when he died, all this, like, everything in between. It's not that kind of biopic in a way, but it's more of a Mr. Rogers story. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. A Mr. Rogers story.
The Mr. Rogers cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly. I want a Mr. Rogers movie every year. A new person playing Mr. Rogers. But it was really good, and the performances are great. There are so many great interpersonal moments between characters where you just have two characters sitting and talking, and the amount of emotion and the performances and the direction, it's all just super well done. I'm not going to go into specifics because Go or No Go is spoiler free, but there is a sequence in about the middle of the movie that was incredibly jarring and strange and really threw me off for the movie. And I'm not going to give context or anything. I'll just say that it starts to play with the reality of the movie, and it takes it from this movie that was very much just rooted in characters in the real world and the struggle and everything, and went off in this very strange direction for several minutes, and then came back, and it just felt, it lessened the movie for me, because it felt like it breached the reality of the movie. And I can't really say any more without really going into details about what this actual sequence is. And when you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's just, I understand what they were trying to do with it, but I felt like you could have done that they were trying to do in a different way, and it would have made the movie even more powerful. So, I'm ultimately going to give A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood a go. But you're seeing it tomorrow?
So, yeah, I heard someone say online that the movie kind of plays out as a giant episode of the Mr. Rogers Show, but for adults. Would you say there's any legitimacy to that, or no?
In a way. So, I don't want to give details, but they frame the movie a little bit in that way. It doesn't follow all the way through, but it has some of those elements to it. But the problem was that they were trying to play into some of those elements while also keeping the real world human drama, and the two didn't really flow well together. I feel like it was one or the other, and they should have leaned into just more of the human drama of it. Yeah. So I can see that, but I wouldn't say it's exactly that. There's a little bit more to it. But anyways, I'm going to give Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood a go.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see it.
Yeah. So anyways, what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood? Are you looking forward to seeing it? If you haven't had a chance yet, leave your spoiler-free thoughts in the comment section below. And now we move on to our next Go or No Go here, and that is for The Irishman, which we both had a chance to see. I was going to say go see, but the only place I went to was the couch. So, Rob, I'll let you kick us off. What are your thoughts on The Irishman?
The Irishman, it's a movie that I think it's been on my most anticipated list like 2 years in a row, because I think it was supposed to come out last year, but I never did. It's a movie that's been in production for a long time.
Yeah.
They've been with the script.
Scorsese's trying to make it for 10 years.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't think this is one of Scorsese's best movies, but even when he doesn't have his best movie, it's still a damn good movie. And it was a movie that, while it felt long in some places, overall I have to say the acting is what saves this movie. Just phenomenal performances by Al Pacino, De Niro, and Joe Pesci. All, like, because we've seen some of them phone it in recent years. They're all at the top of their game.
De Niro's never phoned in a performance.
Bad grandpa, little fucker. We'll save it for there. I won't shit on the guy today. But
not today. Tomorrow, but not today.
But they all give really good performances, and it's an interesting movie about, you get to see this, it reminded me a little bit of Boyhood in a way, in which you get to see a character age, even though it's in this movie it's fake, the aging, but you get to see a character start from one point and age all the way into the end of his life and be able to reflect on his whole life. And I really like just the way it showed De Niro and his, all his friendships through Joe Pesci's character and Al Pacino's character, and, the kind of struggle he was in with, do I side with this one, do I side with that one, and it brings up a lot of questions in your head, whether what you think was right or what you think should have happened, but I just think this movie, like, it really brings you into the world of, I think it was Philadelphia.
I believe so.
Yeah, and just, it makes you feel like you're there, like the way they were able to get all the old cars and costumes and stuff like that. This is a top-notch production. It's cost like $200 million maybe, and you can see it on the screen. Like there's not a cheap shot in the whole movie, and I think they did a really good job with it. And I think if you can go to a theater and see it, you should go. But if you can't,
demand an intermission.
Just watch it on Netflix because I think you'll really enjoy it. I'll give it a go.
Nice. Yeah, so I really liked it too. And I always I appreciate Scorsese's films. I know he's your all-time favorite director, right? I wouldn't quite put him there for me. I don't think he's really even in my top 5 personally, but I really like his movies a lot. And I'd say I think some people have said about this movie, it's like, oh, it's just the same kind of gangster movie he always makes.
No, it's completely different.
They're definitely, you could tell it's the same director who's made Goodfellas, who's made, all of his other movies. But there's a difference in the tone. Like, this is a much more somber and reserved tone, especially if you compare Wolf of Wall Street and this. They're radically different movies. And the themes of aging and what happens when you get older and looking back on your life and having regrets on how you lived your life and the decisions you made. Like, I thought that was such an interesting concept, and you could tell that this is a movie Martin Scorsese needed to make now at this point in his life. Like you said, the performance is all fantastic. De Niro is brilliant in this. Pacino is excellent. Pesci's excellent. And Ray Romano, he doesn't have a ton of screen time, but he was great in this. I want him
Sebastian was in it too.
Yeah, for a little bit. I want Ray Romano to pop up in more stuff because he's really good. So all the performances are great, but you'd expect that from the performances. Like you said, production design is outstanding. Cinematography, outstanding. There were shots in this, I was like, this is fantastic. It didn't need to be 3.5 hours.
No.
It could have been shorter. Now, granted, Scorsese is Scorsese. If he wants to make a 3.5 hour movie, and if a studio, none of the studios, but now Netflix,
I guess
want to give him the money,
now.
Want to give him the money, and are willing to say, yes, go ahead, Scorsese can make a 3.5 hour movie. It didn't need to be 3.5 hours, but if he wants to make a 3.5 hour movie,
I just
go
hope
ahead.
He doesn't go like, I got 3.5, let's go for 4.
Yeah, he keeps bumping it up a half hour every movie. Who's ready for my 6-hour feature? He's like 94, and he's like, I just made the 6-hour movie.
It's me sleeping.
Yeah, it's called 8 hours. It's just me taking a nap. But I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It might be in my top 10 of the year. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to wait until we get to the end of the year. But yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Now, I asked you this question over text, but I want to ask you again on the show. If you had to pick only one of the main 3 to be nominated for an Oscar, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, who do you think deserves it the most?
I'll say De Niro just because I think his character obviously is the lead, and I think he does a great job of carrying you through the whole way, through the narration and just his act. The scene at the end, I won't spoil it, but he has a phone conversation with someone. That scene was phenomenal.
His acting,
he should almost
standout.
maybe win the Oscar for that scene. I mean, there are some really good performances.
That was the scene,
but that was the scene. Like, I was like, all right, just give him a nomination.
I had the same thought. I was watching that scene. I was just like, my heart was breaking.
I was like, this guy's 80 or something like that, and there's not many actors who can give that.
De Niro, he's 76.
Okay, well, close enough. But I was like, he's that old and he can still give a performance like that compared to all these young guns.
Yeah. I'd say if I had to pick one, I'd say Pacino.
He was excellent too.
Because Pacino, so there was this There's a couple of scenes, I'm not going to give context, where Pacino is getting angry at people.
Yeah.
And just his mannerisms,
Yeah.
the way he uses his hands, the way he yells things, it was just perfect.
This was the perfect role for Al Pacino.
Yeah,
like,
he was fantastic.
Fit him perfectly. But Joe Pesci was really good too. Like he
was
kind
great.
of has like a.
He's much more reserved in this movie.
And I like, it was cool seeing him like that because usually he's like over the top, like in Home Alone or Goodfellas and stuff like that. But he was really. I'm glad they got him in it.
Yeah, me too. So, and some of the de-aging didn't always work.
You kind of get over it.
Yeah, but considering how much of it is in the movie,
it comes to a point where you don't notice it anymore because it starts to look better and better as the movie goes along.
Yeah. So, I think, we both give Irishman a go. So, what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to watch The Irishman yet? Are you planning on watching it if you haven't had a chance? Leave your spoiler-free thoughts in the comment section below. And now we move on to our third go or no-go, and that is for the new Rian Johnson whodunit murder mystery, Knives Out. So I had the chance to see this last night. You saw it about a week ago, right? And I gotta say, I really like this movie a lot. Now, the great thing I think about this movie is how much it subverts expectations. Because it plays it up as if it's going to be the classic Agatha Christie whodunit, like you kind of figure out exactly... But, and I'm not going to give any specifics, but from the outset, it almost immediately flips the whole structure of a whodunit on its head. And I won't say how, but the way it does that was so genius. And I was like, oh, really? You're going to do that this early? and I was like, well, how do you keep going after that? And then the way it all plays out from there, it was just so well done. All the performances were great. Like, this is an all-star cast. All-star cast. The cast that they have for this movie is phenomenal, and they all did great. The writing is sharp. The direction is fantastic. I love the production design. Like, the house... Like,
right in Massachusetts.
Yeah. It filmed, like, a whole bunch in the air.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And the cinematography was great. The score was great. And what I love, so Daniel Craig in this movie, he's great. Now, the first 5 minutes, I was like, is this going to be like too hammy? Is it going to be too over the top? But it sets in perfectly. And I think the great part about his character was, especially with his accent and everything, he kind of represented our expectations of what a whodunit is supposed to be. And we kind of get comfortable with how we think things are going to go. Mainly because he's the one leading the charge.
Yep.
And then as it plays out, things change. He really doesn't even become, like, the main focus anymore. And it's just so interesting how Rian Johnson plotted this out. And it's an ode to the old classic murder mysteries while also being something completely different. It's just all the different levels and layers of it and how it all plays out. And once you get to the end and you start seeing all the clues all the way through the movie, it's just very well done. So I'm personally going to give Knives Out a go.
So before I say what I liked about the movie, you were saying that it kind of flips expectations. Mm-hmm. Could you say Rian Johnson kind of did that with Last Jedi too?
He did. and I thought what he did with Last Jedi with that was very good.
Now, I would say I didn't like Last Jedi what it did, but I'd say with Knives Out, I did like it a lot. Mm-hmm. And I have to give a lot of credit, I think, to Ana de Armas.
She is great.
I've seen her in other things, and she's like a side character. Usually, she's good. I think she carries the whole movie. To be honest with you. Her and her relationship with Christopher Plummer and the other characters are just what kept me like interested in the movie the whole time. I don't think I loved this as much as you did, but I definitely found it to be really clever and really entertaining, and definitely a movie you wanted to see where it was gonna lead to. Because I was the same way, saying like if okay, well you're showing us this now, like where the rest of this is gonna go, and it showed like it. You think it reveals itself all at once, but then it slowly like peels back, and you go, "Oh, wait, no, all that's gonna happen." And I liked that it was different. I have to admit that I liked that it was different. And I will say with the performance, I felt like some of the cast, like the actors they had, were kind of like just like kind of throwaway characters. Like I didn't think Michael Shannon had a lot to do in this, and then I didn't think like a guy, the kid from It, who was in the movie. I didn't think he had a lot to do in it, but I'd say the main performances of Daniel Craig and Chris Evans and Ana de Armas, those are like the three kind of lead performances.
Tony Collette was.
She was great
in this movie.
And Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis was good. Don Johnson had some good moments.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say besides some of the smaller characters not getting maybe their time to shine, I'd say the lead ones get their time to shine and they carry through the movie. And I love the mother of Christopher Plummer too. She had some good lines. Yeah, this is probably my favorite Rian Johnson film. I've only seen Brick and Last Jedi. I haven't seen Looper.
Oh, you never saw Looper?
No, I haven't seen it.
I thought Looper's great.
I'll have to watch that.
I agree. This is my favorite Rian Johnson movie.
I kind of hope he does more just original movies. Yeah. I know, like some people love Last Jedi, some people don't. I don't, but I honestly, I'm not even talking about my love of Last Jedi. I think he's better off just doing these types of movies, smaller movies. But we'll see.
I want him to. So you're saying doing his own stuff as opposed to that trilogy. Yeah. So thing is, I want him to do whatever he's actually like wanting to do, and if I feel the same way about Cameron with the Avatar sequels. If I had the preference, if someone's like, Nathaniel, you could choose. Do you want James Cameron to do original material, 4 original movies, or do 4 Avatar sequels? I'd pick the 4 original movies. But if James Cameron is excited about doing the 4 Avatar movies, and those are the movies he wants to make, he's a great enough director that I want him to do what he wants to do. And I feel the same way with Rian Johnson. I think he's at his strongest when he's doing his own original movies, when he has full control over the script and everything, and he's playing in his own sandbox as opposed to someone else's. But if his thing that he was passionate about was doing that trilogy of Star Wars movie, then I'd want him to do that. But if I had the preference, if I had to choose between the two and it was solely up to me, I'd pick his original stuff. Because I think Knives Out just shows, he's a fantastic writer.
Have you ever seen Brick?
I haven't seen Brick.
Brick was really good, too.
And Looper is great, too. Looper is, a fantastic original science fiction film.
Yeah, so I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Yeah.
I think it did pretty well at the box office this weekend.
It's doing well.
That's good.
I have to say, the release date for this movie is perfect.
Good. And they did good with, they showed it, 2 nights, Friday and Saturday last weekend. Anybody could buy tickets, and it was another thing that was cool is they gave you a free poster, and they told everybody hold on to the poster. So then we got in the movie, and then before the movie came on, Rian Johnson was on the screen, and he said look at the back of your poster. If there's a sticker, you've won a prize. Oh. I didn't win though.
Oh, so you're a loser then.
I got the poster though.
Nice. So I think we both gave it a go. So what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to see Knives Out yet? Are you planning to see it if you haven't had a chance yet? Leave your spoiler-free thoughts in the comment section below. Now we're moving on to our last go or no go, and this is one that I haven't had a chance to see yet. So I'm all ears. Rob, tell me all about Queen and Slim.
Queen and Slim, I saw it last night. It's a movie about, I think, if you haven't seen the trailer, it's about these 2 African Americans, one male, one female, and they're on a Tinder date of sorts. And they're driving home, and it doesn't seem like the date went well, but they get pulled over by the police, and one thing leads to another, and the male, played by Daniel Kaluuya,
I believe. That's why I always
the alcohol. I don't know.
I always say Kaluuya.
Whatever. Daniel ends up killing the police officer, and then the 2 of them have to go on the run. And this movie, I thought it'd be good. I think it really surprised me. I honestly loved this movie. I think it's one of my favorites of the year. It's kind of another movie that subverts your expectations, because the trailers kind of made it look almost like a Bonnie and Clyde type of movie, and really it's kind of a love story in a way, and I really liked it for that. What male loves love stories? What can you say? But the performances are really, really great in this. Daniel Kaluuya, who's Oscar nominated. I would love to see him get another one for this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Jodie Smith-Turner, I believe that's her name. This is her first performance ever, and she's fantastic in this movie. I can't wait to see her do more things. Just the way that the chemistry these 2 had was off the charts. Some of the best chemistry I've seen this year. And the director, Melina Moustakis, I don't know. Sorry. I should be more prepared. But yeah, this is her first movie too, and what a knock. Probably not going to happen, but I would like to see her be nominated for Best Director, but it probably won't happen. I think she's got experience in music videos, and you can tell because it kind of like it has that kind of music video kind of lens to it, where like there's like flashy imagery and stuff, and it really works in this movie. Cinematography should be nominated too. I thought that was fantastic. Great score, just a really, really great movie, and I hope people can go out and see it because it tackles a lot of different themes and messages in it, and I think it's really important for people to see this movie. I'm going to give it a go.
Nice. So Queen and Slim is on my list of movies to see before the end of the year. So I am very excited about it.
I think you'll like it a lot.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to see Queen and Slim yet? If you haven't had a chance yet, are you looking forward to seeing it? Leave your spoiler-free thoughts in the comment section below. And now we move on to our main topic here today.
Here we go.
On the Movie Paradise Show. And our main topic. So we are coming to the end of 2019, which means we're coming to the end of the 2010s. So we're looking back at this whole decade in movies. And we have both come up painstakingly, came up with our top 10 favorite movies of this decade. This can be quite a list. Yeah. So how this is going to work is that each one of us is going to go through, start with 10, work our way to 1, and we'll kind of chat about each movie as we go. So I'll kick things off. Why not? I think I have it programmed that way. So we're going to kick things off, and my number 10 is Begin Again. So I know this won't be on a lot of people's lists.
Because, it was close to being on mine.
But I adore this movie. I think it's fantastic. Keira Knightley, Mark Ruffalo, James Corden's really great in it.
Guy from Maroon 5's really good in it too.
Adam Levine. Yeah. The music is fantastic in this movie. John Carney directs the hell out of this movie. I just think it's so great, and I just love the story. I love the structure of it. And I'll just say, going forward for all these, let's not give huge spoilers, but we can talk kind of about the movies because a lot of them have been out for about a decade.
At least till 2010.
So we could talk. But the structure of the movie, especially the whole like first 40 minutes, where you get all of like Mark Ruffalo's side to this one point, and then you get Keira Knightley's side, and then them working on the outdoor album and everything. And I loved Haley Steinfeld in it. Yep. She's great.
Catherine Keener's good in it.
Yeah, there's so many great performances. And I think all the music's fantastic, and it's just. Yep. It's just such a great feeling movie, and it's about redemption and about bringing people together, and I just really love this movie.
Yeah, John Carney is, when it comes to like music movies, he really seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
This one didn't make my list, but it was close. But I had to say Sing Street was closer. I think I like that movie a little bit more. But this is a movie that's endlessly rewatchable. I think that's why I think it deserves to be on a top 10. I'm glad you have it on yours.
Yeah, I'm glad it's on mine too.
Even if John Carney says Keira Knightley can't act. I think she was great.
That was stupid of him to say. She's excellent.
She was probably the best performance in the movie.
Yeah, she was excellent in this movie. That was such a stupid thing for him to say. So my number 9, Fruitvale Station. So this is the first movie from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. They went on to do Creed and they went on to do Black Panther. Fruitvale Station is it's a gut punch.
Yep.
This movie is so good because it just follows this character's life. And it just follows him and his family and what's going on until you get to the end and what ultimately happens to him. And the way it's shot, they shoot it like with a lot of handheld, and it makes it feel like you're just right there experiencing life with him. And Michael B. Jordan is fantastic in this movie. And just the way it hits you when you get to the end. Like I've watched this movie a few times, and I've watched it with new people, and when I show new people this movie, like, a lot of people are crying by the end of it.
Did you know what was going to happen, though, at the end, or no?
I think so.
Because it was a real story.
Yeah, it was a real story, and I think they show a little bit of it in the very beginning, too. Like, I think they hint at it.
I can't remember.
But, man, this movie's just brilliant. So, it's my favorite Ryan Coogler movie. I mean, Creed is excellent.
Yeah.
Black Panther is really good. But I think this is Ryan Coogler's best movie now.
Another one that was close to getting on my list. I ended up going with another Coogler movie. I'll say it from my list. But yeah, this is definitely...
Really? I thought Fruitvale Station was your number 9.
we had some technical issues. But yeah, no, I'm glad you have this on your list.
Yeah, it's a great one. And my number 8 is Her, directed by Spike Jonze, and you got Joaquin Phoenix in there. This movie, when I watched this movie for the first time, I was just absolutely blown away. First of all, Joaquin Phoenix is amazing in this movie.
Yep.
I think Joker is my favorite performance of his that I've seen, but he's phenomenal in this movie. Scarlett Johansson, the fact that the performance that she delivers with just her voice, and how she feels so real, and because this whole movie hinges on the chemistry between Joaquin Phoenix and his phone's AI.
Yep.
It hinges on that, and if you don't have that immediate, you have to buy into the fact that he falls in love with her. And if that doesn't work, then this movie doesn't work at all. And the performance that Scarlett Johansson gives with just her voice, you immediately buy into that. You get their chemistry. You get why he falls for her. It just works so perfectly. The writing is great. I love the sci-fi elements without it leaning too much into them. Like, it doesn't go full sci-fi.
It's more realistic. Sci-fi.
Exactly.
Like, this could actually happen.
Yeah.
In the future, not like flying cars and
Yeah.
people with alien tentacles.
Yeah, it all fits with what we think could eventually happen. And I thought there was great elements of social commentary while also being like a love story and having romantic elements. I just think it pulled it all off so perfectly with the right amount of emotion by the end of it. I think this movie's brilliant.
There's another one I want to put on my list. I know that we have similar tastes sometimes, but I don't know. I find this. I've only seen this movie once, and I've wanted to watch it again, but I find it hard to watch again just because of the ending. I find is very hard to get through. Not because it's bad. It's very emotional.
Yeah.
So when I'm putting together top 10s, like sometimes I have to say like, would I put this on my top 10? But like I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever watch this again because it's just hard to watch. So
yeah, rewatchability is a factor that has to go in. I don't think it's the main factor, but it's one of the factors.
Where's Spike Jonze been? That was his last movie. That was like 2013.
Yeah,
I love his films, so I'm waiting for him.
Yeah. Anyways, so Her is my number 8. My number 7 is Silver Linings Playbook. This movie is so good. I know you're going to talk about this in a little bit. This movie is so good. Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro. Yeah. Everyone is so good.
That was probably his last good performance since like Irishman, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he was good in Joker.
Yeah, that was really nothing. But yeah.
Oh, man, this movie's so good. Like I watched it recently again, not too long ago. It's just like the way it deals with mental health, but it has like the comedy and it's fun, but it also hits hard. The performances are just so great, and like you just love spending time with these characters, and it just has all the stakes and the emotion and everything is on the line. It's just so well done. I just love this movie. I think it's great.
I do too.
And you'll talk about it in a little bit.
Speak about it.
And my number 6 is another Bradley Cooper movie, and that is A Star Is Born. This was my favorite movie of 2018. I love this movie. I think Bradley Cooper directed the hell out of this film. The performance that he gives, he should have won. He should have won. Rami Malek, you didn't sing your own damn songs. Bradley Cooper did. Bradley Cooper, all right.
I mean, it's not Rami Malek's choice not to sing. You can't blame him.
Yeah, but whatever. But here's the thing, and I said this when the movie came out. When you look at the work that Bradley Cooper, as one individual, did on this film, he acted in it. He acted in it. He directed it. He co-wrote it. He produced it. He had to learn how. He's not a singer. He had to learn how to sing. He had to learn how to play guitar. He had to do all these things to nail this movie, and being a first-time director.
And it won nothing except for best song.
A disgrace. An absolute disgrace. This movie is phenomenal. I love this movie. Bradley Cooper just made such a great movie, and Lady Gaga is so good in it. Yep. She's so good in it. Like, I've never been like a huge Lady Gaga fan, but her performance.
I see you with like meat dresses all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe someday I'll show them on the show. I'll wear one. But I mean, and her singing is obvious. Like, we'd all expect she nails the songs, but her performance is just fantastic, and she adds so much life to this movie. And I love how it deals, like, all the character work it does with, especially with Bradley Cooper's character in like the second act when he's dealing with all of his like alcohol and drug abuse, and you just see him and his mental struggles and their relationship, and it's just so well done. And by the end, I'm not going to say what it is just in case people haven't seen it. It's also only like a year old.
It's also been done 3 other times.
There's one editing decision, one cut that they decide to make at the very end of the movie during her final song performance. One edit that just absolutely wrecked me. And I think it should have won Best Editing for that one cut. It was brilliant. It was so brilliant. And I could talk about Star is Born all day. I love this movie.
Yeah, I think the movie's good. I think this is one of the more overrated movies we've had in the past couple years. Sorry.
Say it again!
I was surprised that Bradley Cooper didn't get nominated, though, for director, because I kind of just expected that.
Yeah.
But when it didn't happen, I was like, oh,
yeah,
that stinks.
I mean, I know some people think it's too long of a movie.
Yeah.
And, like, could it be shorter? Yeah, but
Yeah,
I was with it the whole time.
I just find the second act to be a little slow and just meandering.
See, I agreed the first time I saw it, but the second time I saw it, I really appreciated the second act.
I'll have to
because
watch it again.
a lot of it... Have you seen it since that first time?
No, I was going to buy it on
again.
Black Friday. I didn't see it anywhere.
That second act, they spend a lot of time really... Like, that's where they dedicate all the time to all this deep character work with Bradley Cooper's character. And you really just see what's going on in his head. And I really loved the second act as a result of that. And that really came clear to me the second viewing.
Yeah. The first act, I have to say, is off the charts. So
Yeah.
I remember
that
in
opening
the theater, I was
song.
like, wow, this is awesome.
In the Dolby. I saw it 3 times in Dolby. I was so happy.
Is she the sing-along version? I don't know.
No. Well, I was singing along, but it wasn't a sing-along version.
Sit down, sir.
You get stopped me. I paid money for this. Anyway, so yeah, Star is Born. That's my number 6. My number 5 is Prisoners. Denis Villeneuve. This is my favorite Denis Villeneuve film.
Agreed.
Oh man, this movie is so good. I remember when we saw it.
Did we see this together?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
did.
remember.
We saw it together. I just remember it's such an intricate mystery of what's going on. Hugh Jackman is so good. That scene when he has the hammer.
I think he's better in this than he is in Logan, even though people might want to disagree with me. I think this.
I'd have to think about it for a bit, but it's tough.
I also think Jake Gyllenhaal was better in this movie than he was in Nightcrawler, and people would
That's
probably
a tough one, too.
probably go crazy at me for that. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Oh, this movie is so good.
Agreed.
And Paul Dano.
Oh yeah, he's creepy.
he's-
Melissa Leo as his mother was creepy. Even like this, people don't talk about how stacked this cast was. Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, Maria Bello, the kid from 13 Reasons Why was in it.
Yeah.
There was so many people in this.
Yeah, the cast is great. Like all the performances are fantastic.
Yeah, Roger
It's
Deakins cinematography.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I was just on the edge of my seat the whole movie. I was never, the first time I watched it, never guessing where it was going. And it's dark and it's brutal and it's gritty, and you feel the desperation.
Yep.
Of a father trying to get back his kid. Mm-hmm. And you just feel, and I loved how it explored, like, what will a person do? Like, when you take away a child from someone, their kid, what lengths will they go to? And, like, we've seen that in other movies. Yeah. Like, that's Taken.
This is a little better than Taken.
But, But just, like, the way they tell that story, and Hugh Jackman's performance, and just how he, like, the man we see at the beginning to who he becomes and the lengths he goes to, and how just, like, what he'll become. It's so brilliant. It's so well done. I love this movie. I love every time I watch it, I'm just blown away.
This is one that I've only actually seen once at the theater that one time, and it's another one I think it's tough to rewatch. But I don't. It's just so excellent that I think it had to just get on that.
Yeah.
My list.
I've seen it a few times now. It's just,
I gotta buy it on Blu-ray.
You don't own it?
No, I haven't. There's a couple of these that are on my top 10 list that I don't even own. That I just realized.
Actually, I'm curious.
I don't know.
I'm looking real quick.
I don't know. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5.
I don't think I own 9. I don't own 9 or 8. I think I don't own 4. I think I own the rest.
You don't own Rum?
Not
it was
on.
like $4, I think, this weekend.
Actually, I kind of forget if I own it or not.
Oh, I don't know.
Actually, I don't think I own it. Whatever. So anyways, so yeah, Prisoners.
Yep.
Fantastic movie, and I think it's Denis Villeneuve's best. My second favorite movie of his, Blade Runner 2049, almost made the list, but not quite.
Yeah, that was one that was close in there.
But anyways,
Arrival, Sicario was close for me too. I like that one a lot.
So anyways, Prisoners is my number 5. My number 4 is aforementioned Rome. This movie wrecked
Tommy
me.
Wiseau, excellent.
Yes. This movie absolutely wrecked me when I saw it. Just Brie Larson is so good. She won her Oscar for it. She's so good. And Jacob Tremblay. This was the movie that was like, who the hell is this Jacob Tremblay kid? He should have been nominated. He absolutely should have been nominated. He is so good in this movie. Their two performances are just fantastic. The emotion of the movie, this movie just, when I saw it, it was just like, it wrecked me. And it was my favorite movie of that year. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. Just such a brilliant film, and it's without a doubt one of the best of the decade.
Yeah, it definitely is Brie Larson's best. It's what put her on the map, I think.
Yeah.
Because she was just the girl from 21 Jump Street or before, yeah.
She has all those smaller roles. Brie Larson's such a good actor. I love Brie Larson.
See, but I don't know. I hate seeing... in Captain Marvel, I don't know, like...
I mean, she's good.
She's fine in it, but like she's like I feel like there's so much more they could do with her in those movies. I don't know.
That's why I'm excited. So I liked Captain Marvel more than you did.
Yeah.
But I think now that we're getting out of that origin story, I'm excited to see what they do with her for like a Captain Marvel 2.
I agree.
Because she's a fantastic actor, and I love to see what they do with her. But yeah, she and Jacob Tremblay in this movie are just brilliant. So this movie is really like two powerhouse performances. Yep. I love it. My number 3 is one you'll talk about a little bit later. Whiplash. My God, this movie is so good. This movie, like...
The ending. The best ending of the decade as well.
Whiplash is just so... J.K. Simmons, his performance that he gives... Honestly, so I'm looking at this list of my top 10. I think
he's the best performance.
I think J.K. Simmons' performance in this movie is the single best performance out of anybody on this list.
Even Bradley Cooper?
Yes. And even better than Jacob Tremblay or Brie Larson, better than Hugh Jackman, better than Joaquin Phoenix, better than Bradley Cooper, better than Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah,
I agree. So I'd say J.K. Simmons gives the single best performance of the decade. Yeah. His performance is so good. And Miles Teller is great. Yep. I loved what this movie was about, how it was just about drive and what you have to do to be the best and to try to be the best. And I loved like the mental warfare between the two. And you've got, J.K. Simmons is pushing and pushing and pushing. And then when Miles Teller is like, he's like weaker and he's just trying to keep up, and then it's like the back and forth between the two, and then he gets the upper hand, and just that kind of dynamic that they have throughout the whole movie is great. And it's so good. It's just, oh man, this movie's so good.
Definitely Damien Chazelle best. I don't care what anybody says about La La Land.
I mean, I love La La Land.
Yeah, I do too. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably when I was putting together, like, that was probably my top 20 or 30.
Yeah.
I love La La Land.
I love First Man too.
First Man I thought was good, but I don't think that would be anywhere near a top 50 of the year or decade or anything. But I'm excited for Damien Chazelle's new movie.
Babylon, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. But man, Whiplash is such a good movie. So that's my third favorite. My number 2, Baby Driver. Now, Baby Driver is in my top 20 all-time favorite movies. I adore this movie. What Edgar Wright did with this movie, the synchronization of the music with what's going on screen, just the way that, like, the fact that they literally on set had to edit the movie as they were filming because they had to make sure everything lined up. Yeah. So they'd film stuff, run it all to the editing station, quick throw it together and be like, yeah, no, this doesn't quite work. No, we gotta do it again. And like, the lengths that they go to, the performances in this movie, fuck Kevin Spacey, but the performances in this movie...
He's good in the movie,
He is good in the movie.
He is excellent.
Fuck Kevin Spacey, but he's good in the movie.
He's excellent. He's always been an excellent actor. It's just
Jamie
Foxx,
brilliant.
Yeah.
John Hamm, excellent. Ansel Elgort, brilliant. I love Lily James in this movie. She's so good in this movie.
Eliza Gonzalez is very good.
Yeah, she's great too. All the
Flea
performances.
was funny. You know, what's the Asian guy's name? I forget what his name was.
Yeah, No Nose Harry or something. She's like, No Nose Eddie, formerly Eddie the Nose.
Yeah. John Bernthal and his brief 5.
Yeah. If you don't see me again, it's because I'm dead. Never see him again. But man, and the song choices are perfect. I still I'll be in the car if Bell Bottoms comes on. I know. I'm getting pulled over for speeding.
I hear that song all the time now. That movie really made that song famous.
And all the music. So I said this when the movie came out, and I still stand by it. I don't know what's the more impressive scene. The whole opening Bell Bottoms scene.
Yeah.
Or the Harlem Shuffle scene when he's going around and you have all the graffiti and the timing of everything.
Oh, I'd say the first scene, but that's just
no. I think the second scene,
the whole fact, anything with the cars just seems ridiculously hard to shoot.
Yes, but also the timing, the absolute timing of that whole scene to make sure all the graffiti lined up, to make sure all the extras in the scene lined up, that his walking wasn't too fast, all those things. It was just so perfectly timed, and I think this is Edgar Wright at his absolute finest. I think Edgar Wright is a really good director, and I don't love all of his movies, but Shaun of the Dead I think is excellent. I love Shaun of the Dead, but Baby Driver I think is him at his absolute best. The performances are all great. The story is great. The emotion of it all is great. The music is fantastic. The way it's all edited, it's just such a well-done movie. Baby Driver, I loved this movie the first time I saw it, and I've seen it. I think I saw it 3 times in theaters. And I've seen it a few times since, and I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times now. Every time I watch this movie, I just adore it. So Baby Driver is my number 2. My number one all-time favorite movie of the 2010s came out in 2010.
Made it.
Is Christopher Nolan's Inception. This movie is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and that's why it's my number 1. Inception, so I think I've only given a 5 out of 5 to maybe 5 or 6 movies. Inception gets one of those. Ooh. Inception is a perfect 5 out of 5 for me. I think this movie is absolutely astonishingly brilliant. Just the writing, the performances, everything with the dreams and the way that world works, it could have been so convoluted. It could have made no sense. Mm-hmm. But Christopher Nolan effortlessly, he makes it all work. It all sounds good. The logic works. Everything works. And while it is a kind of a trippy, weird science fiction story, at its core, it's about a man trying to get over the loss of his wife. And I think that works so beautifully. Marion Cotillard in this movie, she's so good. Her and Leonardo DiCaprio are so good. This movie introduced us to so many, it was my biggest introduction to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. It was my big introduction to Tom Hardy. Ellen Page is great in it. Michael Caine has a great couple scenes in it.
Cillian Murphy was in it.
Yes, Cillian Murphy. Man.
There was another guy in it, too, I'm trying to think. Wasn't there, an Asian character in it? Ken Watanabe was in it, too.
Ken, he's great. Yeah. This movie is just so brilliant. I think it's a masterpiece. I just think it's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies. I think it's probably my second favorite Nolan. Yeah, it's my second favorite, because Dark Knight is my second all-time favorite movie. What? And Inception is in my top... It's definitely my top 10. I can't remember. No, it's not in my top 5. It's number 6 or 7 or something.
Yikes.
But Inception, I think, is an absolute masterpiece. I think it's absolutely brilliantly written. The performances are excellent. The way it's all pulled off, it all makes sense. It all works. And I know some people complain about the ending. I love the ending. And that, to me, that was the only way that movie could have ended.
See, I don't love this movie as much as you do. It's not in my top 10, but I love the ending. I thought it was a great ending.
Yeah. I thought that was...
It's kind of a similar ending to Prisoners, in a way.
In a way, yeah.
But and I love that ending, too.
Yeah, so Inception, I just think, is absolutely brilliant. So anyways, to recap my top 10. Number 10 is Begin Again. Number 9 is Fruitvale Station. Number 8 is Her. Number 7 is Silver Linings Playbook. Number 6 is A Star is Born. Number 5 is Prisoners. Number 4 is Room. Number 3 is Whiplash. Number 2 is Baby Driver. Number 1 is Inception. So let's go over to you, Rob.
I'll try to go a little quicker.
Yeah, so I kind of took my sweet time there.
I always get to the point.
All right, Rob, let's kick us off. What is your top 10?
Number 10 is Drive. It was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, and I think it's his best movie. Some of his movies kind of like fall under the more style over substance, but this one I think is the best he does at handling both of them, because I think you get a really interesting story about this cold man who, works as a stunt driver, and the lengths he gets to, get with the woman he loves, even if I don't know if she necessarily loves him, but just the style of this movie too just really just blew me away, like the neon colors and the lights of Los Angeles. And I know some people might have walked into the movie thinking it was going to be like a Fast and Furious movie, and it really isn't.
Someone sued.
I know. But there are some scenes that kind of fall under like the car chase scenes, like especially in the first couple minutes, and that's an excellent scene. And you get great at Bryan Cranston, Oscar Isaac, Albert Brooks was excellent in this, and this is one of my favorite.
Albert Brooks is so great.
Yeah, he should have been nominated for an Oscar. That was kind of ridiculous, but Ryan Gosling, he's my favorite actor at the moment. I think he picks the best projects to be in, and he's always great in them. And this is one example, and I think I have at least one more on the list of him. So we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
My number 9 is not Fruitvale Station, but Creed. This was a movie I had not even seen the Rocky movies yet before I had seen Creed, and I loved the Rocky character, and I loved the Creed character even more. I still think this is my favorite out of all the... I've seen Rocky 1 now, and Rocky 2, and Rocky 4, and I still think this is my favorite out of all those movies. I just think just the fighting in this movie is so phenomenal. The one takes...
Yeah.
Oh my... It was riveting. And Sylvester Stallone should have won the Oscar. Still makes me mad to this day. He was brilliant in this movie. The scene where he's like saying there's no one here now. I'm not fighting anymore. Oh my God, it almost brings me to tears. And just Ryan Coogler oh my God, he directed such a great movie. I love this movie. I watch it all the time. Yeah. Probably watch it at least once a year.
I'd say so. I'd still put the first Rocky above this one, but I love Creed. Creed's fantastic.
All right. Number 8 was the reintroduction to Star Wars, and that was Force Awakens. I was a pretty big Star Wars fan. I love the original trilogy, but the prequels not so much. But with this movie, I thought it brought us right back into the things that I loved about Star Wars, the world building, the brand new characters. I instantly fell in love with Finn, Poe, and Rey, and it was just a wild, just space adventure movie, and I had missed that from Star Wars. And I loved just how we got back to all the practical effects, and there was less CGI than there had been in the other prequels and stuff like that. And I thought, we're finally getting in the right direction with Star Wars. I can't wait to see what they do next. Then they disappointed me, and I haven't liked one since, but that doesn't... We'll say that for another discussion. But
yeah, I like Force Awakens a lot. Rogue One almost made it into my top 30 or 20, but I love Rogue One.
Hate Rogue One.
But yeah, fuck you.
Hey, it's my list.
Nah, my show. Nah. Anyways, moving on.
All right, number 7 is the other Ryan Gosling movie, The Nice Guys. This movie is solely works because I think of the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and the excellent script by Shane Black. Say what you want about him. I mean, who knows how he is as a person. We've heard some things about him, and some of his movies don't always work, like Iron Man 3 and Predator. But I think this movie is his best movie, and I love the feel of the old buddy cop movie we get, and it's definitely, I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you would count Wolf of Wall Street as a comedy, but I think this is the best comedic movie of the decade. Movie just makes me laugh endlessly watching it throughout. And I have a couple problems with it, with performance-wise, and some twists and stuff like that. I think just the comedy and just the writing of this movie is what makes it so good for me, and I like it a lot.
Nice Guys, I thought it was fine. I don't like it nearly as much as you do, or nearly as much as other people. I watched it in theaters, and I thought, yeah, it was good. And then I tried watching it again. I turned it off halfway through because I wasn't really invested.
All right, Buzzkill, number 6. Good Time, a movie you have not seen still.
Yes.
And you got to watch it before you go see Uncut Gems. Man, this movie is so... This movie, the thing I love about this movie, it doesn't even feel like a movie. It feels like just some dirty street cam footage.
Well, why would I want to watch that?
And I love Robert Pattinson's performance. He had just been known as the Twilight guy, but this is the best performance I think he's ever given, and he's such a scumbag in this movie, and it's so like you kind of feel sick watching him doing some of the things he does. I don't want to spoil them for you since you haven't seen it, but there's some scenes with this girl where I was like, oh my god, that is disgusting. But it's just like you can't. It's kind of like a car crash in a way, which you can't take your eyes off the screen just because the Safdie brothers, they're so great at just filming stuff and making it look just so gritty and real. And what I was saying when I reviewed Uncut Gems, some of that movie felt a little bit like this is a movie, not real life. But with Good Time, I think throughout the entire movie, it felt like these aren't actors; these are real life people. And honestly, a lot of them were real life people that they just brought in to do roles, which was really cool. I love how they do that.
Yeah.
All right, number 5 was a movie you mentioned already, Prisoners, and it's just a really, really like good mystery movie. I think it's probably the best mystery movie we've had of the decade, and it was a movie
classic whodunit
in a way, but like I was like, this was one of the movies, like a lot of movies nowadays, since we've seen a lot of movies, you can kind of guess where things are going. This is a movie I had no idea where it was going to end up, and by the time we get to the ending, I thought the ending was great. Are we allowed to spoil the ending or no?
I'd say not, just because people haven't seen it.
They were just, it's kind of like a thing like will he or won't he, or what would you do? And I love endings like that. And like we were saying, Hugh Jackman, this is my favorite performance of him. This is him, like, I know, like in Logan, he gives a great performance, but in some of the X-Men movies, I feel like he's just being Hugh Jackman in a way. But in this movie, he's not Hugh Jackman. He is this character, and I loved him for it in that. All right, number 4, another Christopher Nolan movie, not Inception, and I gotta say Dunkirk is probably my second favorite Nolan movie. I put Dark Knight too. I just love. I know you had problems with the whole time, thing in this movie. For me, it worked. I made sense to me, and I really liked it. And I know people might say like, oh, there weren't like any characters you could latch onto. The one character in this movie, I think, is the war in a way. I think the war is its own character, and just the way everything plays out, and just to think how like hard that movie must have been to make. Yeah. Like there was no CGI in it, really, was there? Like, it's just all practical, and it's just so awesome to watch. And the Tom Hardy like air raid scenes are so great, and this is a movie that demands to be seen on the biggest screen you can watch now. Yeah. Like, is that the biggest TV you can buy, or is there?
No, that's big.
But if you can, the biggest one you can find, I'd say it's not a movie you should watch on your phone.
Yeah, no.
Even though
no movie should be
I watch a lot of movies on my phone, but.
So I'll say this about Dunkirk. I'm not gonna go into my usual thing. I'll just say, usually like the whole time, like the time thing, that didn't work. To me, that felt like Nolan was trying to nullify a movie that didn't need to be nullified. He could have just made a straightforward movie and it would have been fine. The staging of like all the practical effects, how everything, that was all brilliant. I just couldn't follow any of the characters. To me, like, to be completely honest, I was losing track of who was who, and so. Literally, like, this happened literally a few times where a character died, where I thought a character died, and then the character, I was like, oh yeah, I thought that character, oh wait, is that a different character? Oh, and I started losing track of who was who. I lost track of which character was which character, what time was going on, because it was like, one was like a day, one was a week, one was, however that was, or it was an hour a day in a week, and I was like, wait, so how does this fit in with this? And I just couldn't follow.
Have you only seen it once?
Yeah.
Alright. We'll have to make a deal. If I watch A Star Is Born again, you should watch Dunkirk again.
Well, I think you need to watch Fight Club for the first time.
And
I'll watch Good Time for the first time.
All right, fine. Well, those are two separate situations.
All right. Anyways.
Number 3 is a Scorsese movie, my favorite director, Wolf of Wall Street. This is a movie, like, the comedy in this movie is like, top-notch. But when it needs to get serious, it does a great job of getting serious, and I think this is Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance. I like The Revenant, but I feel like that was kind of almost like a you deserve it kind of Oscar.
Yeah.
In which something like this and other movies he's done, where this is where his acting is on full display, and you don't. He's not Leonardo DiCaprio. He is Jordan Belfort in this movie. He is phenomenal, and you get Margot Robbie too, and you think like, oh, she's just the hot girl they cast for the movie. No, she's a great actress, and you get to learn that through her. I think this was like her first performance, pretty much. She was great in the movie, and it's another movie.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, he was really good too. I forgot about him. He was excellent. And it's a movie it's 3 hours long, but it never feels that long. It definitely feels like a 2-hour movie almost.
Whenever I think of this movie, I think it was the Golden Globes that year that it was up, and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey were hosting, and they were saying, they're like, Wolf of Wall Street, if I wanted to see Jonah Hill masturbate at a pool party, I'd go to Jonah Hill's pool party. I just always think of that. I agree. I love this movie. This movie would have, I had a top 20, it probably would have made it in. It just didn't have enough spots, but I love Wolf of Wall Street. It's fantastic.
I'm glad. All right, and my last two, the ones you mentioned, Silver Linings Playbook. This is like the ultimate like love story kind of movie. Like it's an unconventional love story. That's what I like the most about it. It's two people that should probably never work, finding a way to make it work, and the performances. Jennifer Lawrence won. I think she absolutely deserved it. I think Bradley Cooper should have won too, but it's still my favorite performance of him. I know you would disagree with A Star Is Born, but I think he's
damn straight
the best in this movie. And Robert De Niro has, I think he was nominated too, and I think throughout most of the movie he was just, he was good, Robert De Niro. There's a moment towards the end where he's speaking to Bradley Cooper, and he's just like, you can't let this go. Like, he was like, well, I don't want to spoil the whole scene, but that's what made me love the movie. That last scene, it kind of just makes you think about the whole movie and just makes you think about life and stuff like that. And it's a movie I've seen probably at least 10 times. I love it. I watch it all the time. And number one is Whiplash. I was originally going to do Silver Linings Playbook first, but I think I'll do Whiplash because I think it's just probably the best made movie out of all the top 10. And for such a low budget too, but it's a movie that I don't think you're ever bored watching it. Or ever you're constantly glued to the screen, and that's 100% due to J.K. Simmons' performance. I agree with you. He is the best performance out of all of these. Probably he's the best performance of the decade, and his character just so ruthless, but so captivating, and so you want to watch it. And I think it's definitely the best ending of all these movies too. Just the whole it's a drum battle. I won't say what happened, but
it's so good.
But it's just it's kind of like a cat and mouse game at the end, and you're just watching it, looking back and forth, and you're just oh my god. And the score for that movie was excellent too. Just the whole music, the whole way they used
Damien
it.
Chazelle makes great music movies.
And that's my list.
So if you want
watch
to
all those movies,
recap your top 10.
Number 10, Drive. Number 9, Creed. Number 8, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Number 7, The Nice Guys. Number 6, Good Time. Number 5, Prisoners. Number 4, Dunkirk. Number 3, The Wolf of Wall Street. Number 2, Silver Linings Playbook. And number 1, Whiplash.
All right.
Oh, that was a lot of talking.
So it was. So that does it for our top 10 favorite movies of the 2010s. What do you think? What are your favorite movies of this past decade? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.
Venom, Fury Vengeance.
Furry Vengeance. So we do have some comments, questions to do in the chat, but we are going to, because we're about over an hour in, we're going to take a quick break first for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and answer the questions if you're willing to stick around for it.
Sure, okay.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, and we are back. Yep, everything's looking good. So now we're moving on to the comments section portion of this show. So we're going to look over at the live chat real quick and answer any questions that we might have. And we have some questions from Rich Reviews joins us. Always great to have Rich with us. So Rich starts out with, well, as a massive Godzilla fan, I am disappointed that it is being pushed back. Yeah. I mean, I can see that if you're
if I was a fan, yeah. I mean, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
But that's cool that you are. I'm glad you are.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking forward to the movie, it's never a good thing.
I like the first Godzilla movie, the one from not there. Yeah. I've never seen the original.
And I like Kong Skull Island.
So yeah, I like one of them. Yeah. I never saw the King of the Monsters or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of anything, it would suck to have that movie pushed 8 months. But I mean, the most you could do is just hope that they're trying to fix the movie.
We're big fans of the Happy Death Day movies, and I'm pissed that we're never going to get a third one.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's a disappointment. Rich follows up with, I want a full movie on the dark take on Oscar the Grouch that SNL
I do
did.
too.
That would be cool.
That would be funny.
That would be really cool. Get Todd Phillips to direct that. I'd rather him do that than the Lex Luthor movie or something. So Rich writes, The Irishman doesn't feel like 3.5 hours. Ford versus Ferrari, a.k.a. Matt Damon and Christian Bale versus Ford versus Ferrari. Felt like 2.5 hours. So that's something, when I was watching the movie, I just assumed in my head that Ford v Ferrari was in reference to Christian Bale versus Matt Damon.
Oh, I didn't.
And then as the movie kind of shaped up, I was like, oh wait, so it's the two of them versus Ford. So that was a little, but yeah.
That movie was a little long, I will say.
That could have been shorter.
Ferrari. Yeah.
Irishman definitely felt like 3.5 hours to me.
I think so.
It definitely felt like 3. So Rich follows up with, who is the ultimate loser in the streaming wars? YouTube tried paid content, and that failed miserably. Also, Cobra Kai is the only thing that people watch on YouTube. I've never seen Cobra Kai. I don't have YouTube
big show,
Red.
Though.
Yeah, but I've heard good things about it. Who's the ultimate loser? I don't really know.
Maybe like...
Well, Netflix will be once they lose The Office everything.
There's this one called Quibbly that's supposed to be taking shape, and I think they've been having some trouble. Apple TV, I mean, their shows haven't been doing so hot, at least review-wise. Servant is online now. I'm going to watch that. I'm excited for that. But I don't know. I wouldn't... maybe I'd go YouTube because I've seen a lot of the trailers for the other stuff.
I think ask again in 5 years, and I think the answer will be Netflix. Because I think they're gonna.
They have a lot of good original stuff, though.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna lose a lot of their other content, which is what people watch more than their original stuff. So we'll find out. Rich follows up with, The Irishman and Knives Out will make my top 10 list. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I'm more inclined to, but in honorable mentions. Or inclined to put in honorable mentions. Yeah, so A Beautiful Neighborhood, I don't know if it'll make... So I gave that movie a 4.1. Usually how it ends up shaping up is the 4.2s are usually the tail end of the top 10 and go into honorable mentions. So I don't think A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood will make my top 10 list at all. Irishman, I think I could see that tail end of the top 10 to honorable mentions. And Knives Out, right now it's definitely my top 10.
I haven't seen the Mr. Rogers one yet, but those other two, I'd say they'd be on the outside looking in. I like them a lot, but they're just not.
They're outside the party. Hey, can I get in here? But yeah, we'll have to see how it shapes up. Rich writes, will any documentaries make your top 10 list for 2019? Leaving Neverland will make that list for me. I saw
that.
Oh, how was that?
It was hard to watch, but it was a good documentary. I'd say that was... I'm trying to think if I've seen any other documentaries this year. It was long. Yeah. It was 4 hours.
Yeah. I think the only...
I saw the Friar Fest documentary. That was a pretty interesting documentary. This year? Yeah.
Oh,
it was in February. Yeah,
that was pretty good. That's why it feels so long ago.
Yeah.
I think the only documentary I've seen this year
let me look at my list.
Was this movie Memory, which is the origin of Alien. And so it kind of talked about the origin of like the concept of Alien and how that movie kind of came about. It was a good documentary, but that wouldn't make a list for me. So honestly, outside of that, I haven't seen any 2019 documentaries.
Yeah.
You have any other ones?
No.
All right. Moving on.
There's a lot of good ones on Netflix, though. I always hear all the time people saying documentaries to watch.
Rich writes, what is your worst of the decade list? Well, we don't have those in front of us. That would have been... So
Grown Ups 2.
Grown Ups 2 would be in there. Assassin's Creed.
I didn't see that.
Assassin's Creed, that's
The Fanatic. I just saw that this year. That was
Assassin's Creed is the worst movie I've seen in theaters. Period.
Bro.
Ninth Life of Louis Drax.
That was bad.
There's been a few bad ones.
A few?
47 meters down.
Oh, I like that one. There's another one. I can't even think of it though. I don't know. There's always great movies and there's always bad movies.
That'd be an interesting list to do at some point.
I feel like that'd be a lot hard. Well, it might be a lot easier actually.
Rich writes, one critic that I have been listening to for the past 14 to 15 years has Before Midnight as the best film of the 2010s.
I've never seen any of the Before.
Neither have I, so can't really comment on that.
I love Richard Linklater, though. Maybe I should give those a try.
Rich writes, best/worst Netflix show. I don't know about worst,
Best
but
Glow.
Best is Glow. I agree.
And I also really like Stranger Things.
Yeah, I've never seen Stranger Things.
The worst, 13 Reasons Why, that last season they just released was horrible.
I feel like Netflix has a ton of terrible shows that just not a lot of people watch. But definitely Glow is the best in my opinion.
Yeah.
Rich writes, how many days after leftovers do you guys have? I guess you mean how many days of leftovers do you have?
None. 0. I hate turkey and all that crap. I'll just suck it up the one day. I ain't eating nothing of it the next day.
I've been having I had pie the last couple mornings for breakfast.
I guess if pie counts.
I had a full turkey dinner plate yesterday. I'll probably have it again today. So definitely a few days.
I'll eat the pie after.
I just lost my thought. Rich writes, what do you believe the future of theaters to be? That's a good question.
Just big movies. I think it's just going to be like big comic book, big spectacle movies.
I hope theaters stick around.
I do too.
Who knows? I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
But I hope they stick around.
I think there's going to be like AMC, theaters like that are going to be exclusive to the big movies. And then I think you might still have like smaller, like a Cinema Salem still showing smaller films that are probably on Netflix or a streaming service like that, but they're showing them there too if you want to see them.
But I do think as we go forward and streaming really rises up even more and takes more prominence, a lot of those smaller films are just going to be straight to streaming. And it's going to be sad, but I think that's the ultimate reality. I just hope that theaters stick around in general because I think we might reach a point where people are like, why would we go to the theater and pay money when we could just rent it on streaming? Yeah. And I hope we don't get to that point, but we very well could.
The movie theater is the best way to see a movie. I don't care what anybody says.
Agreed.
I still enjoy watching movies on my
phone.
There are
people who just don't care. Yes. That's the problem. There are people who just don't care. They're like, why should I spend $17 to go see a movie in a theater when I could rent it for $4.99 and watch it on my phone? And that sucks, but that's the reality. I just hope anytime soon we don't get to the point where there are literally no theaters. Yeah. I think the amount of theaters will decline and the amount of movies in theaters will decline. But I mean, at the same time, we're saying that like Avengers Endgame became the highest grossing movie of all time. And, so it's not like movie theaters
I think it's just going to be the spectacle movies that are just going to be the only
People
ones.
Do go see movies in theaters. It's just what movies they see is the question. Next up from Rich, have you ever walked out of a film? I walked out of Assassin's Creed. I think that's the only one I can think of that I walked out of.
Girls Trip.
Well, yeah, you did. I stuck around till the end. Here's when we were watching Girls Trip. What was it? The last 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You were like, you said to me, you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then you walked out, and then I get a text like, yeah, I'm not coming back. And I was like, oh, great, all right. So I guess I'm finishing the movie.
I walked out of Mission Impossible 4. I don't like that movie.
That movie's great.
I don't know. Maybe
I like it more than 5.
Wow, I don't.
6 is the best, but
I agree.
Wow, I don't. So
I walked out of Daddy's Home 2. I walked out of a lot of movies.
Rich Ray, what do you think the plot of the new Saw film with a story by Chris Rock will be? Honestly, I don't know. I really haven't seen the Saw movies.
Well, Samuel L. Jackson is in it too, and Samuel L. Jackson plays his father. If I had to guess, I have a feeling that Samuel L. Jackson is going to end up being Jigsaw. And
that'd be cool.
It's going to be a kind of father versus son kind of movie, but that's just my guess. I'm excited for that one. Yeah. I love Chris Rock. I think he's a very underrated actor.
Yeah, so. I'm very interested to see. And
I've never seen a Saw movie. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. what franchise would you like to go away?
Godzilla.
No, I don't.
Sorry,
want
Rich.
I don't.
Well, there's a bunch. There was one that just Charlie's Angels, I guess if you want to call it. Get out of here. Terminator. Never seen any of them. They all look stupid to me, but
yeah,
so get rid of that.
I don't know. Well, it's hard for me to say because with all these franchises, there's someone who enjoys them.
True.
So,
I'm just saying in my personal opinion.
I mean, I would say maybe Transformers, but I haven't even seen them.
See, I like the Transformers, but I won't disagree with you.
I can't really.
G.I. Joe, I don't need any more of those.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Rich writes, would like to see a live action South Park film.
No.
Animated movie, yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've never seen South Park.
I've seen some episodes, but it's I don't know. It's not really my thing.
I don't think it would work as a...
Yeah, I don't think that would work as live action. Like, same thing, like, I don't think you could do Family Guy live action.
It would essentially just be Good Boys. Just go watch that.
Yeah, that's literally what a live action South Park film would be. When it comes to Nathanael, top 10, didn't see Begin Again, Fruitvale Station, Stars Born, Prisoners, Whiplash, I only saw for J.K. Simmons, Baby Driver, one of the most overpraised film of the year. So definitely see Begin Again, definitely see Fruitvale Station, A Stars Born, and Prisoners. Whiplash, yeah, J.K. Simmons is great in that. And Baby Driver, I mean, in your opinion, it's probably most overpraised. I think that movie's underpraised. I think that movie deserves even more praise than it gets. Baby Driver.
Oh, Baby Driver. Yeah, I agree.
That movie's phenomenal.
I'm glad it made money. Like, it wasn't just one of those ones that people didn't see.
Mm-hmm. Rich writes, Her is basically an Apple product ad. Agree with Room and Inception. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see what you mean with Her. Rich follows up with, when it comes to Rob's list, Love, Drive, and Creed.
Good man.
Force reboot, More Like It. Nice Guys, I didn't bother with. Good Time and Prisoners, I didn't see. Anyone who hates Dunkirk needs to have their head examined.
Thank you, Rich.
I don't hate Dunkirk. I was massively disappointed with it.
I'm just thinking of Cole, like when he was...
Don't examine my head!
Oh, that was
I think Cole said the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I think it was fine.
But, for the record, don't hate Dunkirk. But massively disappointed with it. And the last question we have right here with Rich is, love Wolf of Wall Street. Again, I like Whiplash for J.K. Simmons. Miles Teller, outside of Bleed for this, has yet to act his way out of a paper bag.
He was excellent Bleed for this. I think you should see that.
I think Miles Teller was also really good in War Dogs.
I really like him a lot. He was good in the Footloose remake.
Yeah. Spectacular Now.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot about that when I was doing my...
Well, we're not doing it again next week.
I don't think I would put it in there, but that's another one that'd be really close. I love that movie.
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, I Spectacular Now is also great. So, I think that
Fantastic Four.
Josh Trank loves that movie.
We'll end it on this.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that about does it for our live questions. So, that about does it for this installment of the Movie Paradise Show. Once again, I'm your host, Nathanael Molnár. Thank you to our co-host, Rob Giachinta, for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content. Be sure to follow us on all of our various social medias at Movie Paradise 99, and tune in every single Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for new episodes of the Movie Paradise Show. And until next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.